Welcome, it's No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker. Our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Wow, we're doing the Ready to Rumble. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So I'm pretty excited to have our guest on a little bit later, Kelli Ward,
I am very
Arizona.
excited about that too. Great lady.
And that'll be fascinating. And we have a second guest as well, someone who's an expert on border security from the Epoch Times.
Fascinating stuff that she's going to have for us too. So you'll
amazing.
love that.
So, but I am going to enthrall you with a segment first, and it is about my favorite governor, Andrew Cuomo.
I don't think he's my favorite governor.
He's my favorite ex-governor because he's ex.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I like
so,
that.
Andrew Cuomo, we've talked a little bit about him before in the context of what's going on with government overreach, shutdowns, underreporting, this and that. So, and then we covered his sexual allegations, the harassment suits and so forth. The Attorney General is looking into it. And lo and behold, the governor resigned.
Finally,
because
after so much pressure.
Yeah, impeachment was impending. It was inevitable. It was going to happen. And so I just can't believe it happened. When it was just first started, I'm like, never in a million years. He's too connected. He's going to be like Slick Willie and just glide right through. Nope. Nope. And one of the things is he was gliding through despite a lot of other problems that would have alone typically been enough to make someone resign or be impeached. But he was able to glide through those. But on the left, the one thing they have zero tolerance for are allegations for sexual harassment.
Right.
And that's how he got caught up. Let's bring up the first story here. And what we have from Reason magazine, which is a wonderful magazine, it says the Cuomo pandemic scandal no one is talking about. So I wanted to bring this up. And I've got three stories we're going to cover tonight on Andrew Cuomo. So this one is back from several days ago. It's about a week ago. And what they are talking about is in addition to the sexual harassment claims, in addition to the nursing home debacle, the intentional underreporting, the Attorney General investigations, there is another scandal that they want to look at. And as I'll quote them here, it says, "Before we say bon voyage to the disgraced governor, it's worth noting another of his pandemic policies that has proven to be a massive scandal. The disastrous rollout of New York's emergency rental assistance program." Now, the story with that is that the states all got a lot of rental assistance from the federal government. You know, they created the money, putting the future generation in debt. And what they did is by the end of January of 2021, the federal government had released about $1.2 billion to New York, to their state program. And additional federal grants came in, totaling $2.7 billion to the state of New York, right? By the end of June this year, New York had, according to the U.S. Treasury Department, spent $0 out of its debt relief funds. By the end of July, a month later, which is just 3 weeks ago, they had spent $1.2 million. $1.2 million out of the $1.2 billion or more, depending on which funds we're looking at.
Wow.
It was such a disaster. It made the Obamacare website Rollout,
look like child's play
healthcare.gov or whatever the heck it was,
right.
look like a masterful piece of engineering.
Is this just pure terrible management? I mean,
It is. It says, there's more that comes into it. This disastrous performance has gotten state lawmakers to start scrutinizing a $150 million no-bid contract that the state awarded to an Illinois-based company, Guidehouse, to set up the program. Typically, you'd have to have anything over $50,000, you have to have a comptroller look through it because you want to make sure you're doing right by this taxpayer's money, right? But because of the emergency, state of emergency, they were able to ignore that $115 million. Now, what's interesting is that this particular business, Guidehouse, the Associated Press reported that this Guidehouse hired, at a good salary, a Cuomo advisor right after it got its contract awarded to it. And so that raised serious ethics questions.
That's not at all untoward at all.
No, so the problem is landlords were out of the loop. They completely are wasting all the time because the landlords didn't get this assistance because there was a moratorium on evictions. Landlords weren't being paid. The federal government said, hey, we're going to create all this money so that people aren't going bankrupt. But yet the state of New York was completely incompetent. The governor was completely incompetent. Let's pull up the next story. Now,
this is the one that really chaps my hide.
Yes.
Really
well,
is.
and this is the thing. See, we know about this.
Right.
And we talk about it, and then we're called conspiracy theorists.
Nope.
And we know that the governor was underreporting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the new governor, who was, it's Kathy Hochul, I think that's how you pronounce her name.
The lieutenant governor who...
She was lieutenant governor, now, yes, and now she is governor. Her first day in office, she said, yeah, these 12,000 deaths, we're putting them on the COVID tally. They were supposed to go there. So kudos to her. So that brings up the New York State deaths to about 55,400 people. So
But those nursing home deaths were the ones that just got me. And Janice Dean was all over that story, too. And she was the first one on Twitter I saw relieved when Cuomo finally stepped down, because she was like, this
absolutely.
Is, yeah,
It was unbelievable.
it's hideous.
And what she said, the new governor said, is the public deserves a clear, honest picture of what's happening. And that's whether it's good or bad. They need to know the truth, and that's how we restore confidence.
Good for her.
Yep. So wonderful. I'm sure she's a Democrat. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
If she
That's
stands
stand
by that, that is one heck of an improvement over what the state of New York had.
Yeah.
Last story. And this one I love because it kind of just wraps it all up. Ex-Governor Cuomo has his Emmy unjustly revoked. Unjustly.
Yeah, you have to put that adjective there.
What a travesty. What a travesty. That man deserves his Emmy. And it's true, he actually does. So amid the sexual harassment allegations and amid all of these other concerns, the improprieties, the ineptitude, as a final indignity, this story says, the ex-governor has also been stripped of his Emmy. The International Academy of Television and Arts Sciences announced, and this was just yesterday, announced that in light of the New York Attorney General's report and Andrew Cuomo's subsequent resignation as governor, it is rescinding its special 2020 International Emmy Award. Now, that award was given to him in November, and it's reserved for people who have, quote, crossed cultural boundaries to touch our common humanity. Oprah Winfrey, Al Gore, Steven Spielberg have received them in the past. Now, what's funny here, listen to this, here's how they phrase it. Cuomo certainly did his share of crossing boundaries while in office.
Oh, that is, whoa.
He does deserve that Emmy.
Double entendre there.
But they say it was his commanding performance at COVID-era press conferences during the early months of the pandemic that ultimately netted him the Emmy.
Wait a minute. Performance at press conferences?
Listen, the International Academy president said this: the governor's 111 daily briefings worked so well because he effectively created television shows with characters, plot lines, and stories of success and failure. It's unbelievable. It made him the darling. He had an 80% approval rating.
At that time.
Because it was all theater.
Until he started killing people.
It was all theater, and
Wow.
he used the daily briefings to cover up what he was doing and his misdealings.
It's probably appropriate they took it.
It was
then.
unbelievable. So what they say is these other scandals are more evidence that Cuomo's one true skill is his acting ability. He wasn't a good governor, he just played one on TV. So there you have it,
Beautiful
folks.
slam. Great story. Too.
Yes, we are going to have our special guest next, so stick around, folks.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work. Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Arrow Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground, enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We are very happy to present our next guest, Dr. Kelli Ward, who is chairman of the Arizona State GOP. And welcome, Kelli.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So we are really excited to have you on because we've been watching for I don't know how many months now what's going on in Arizona. It just seems like the time is going on and on and on. But you have so much going on there now with the Maricopa County audit, and you can just give us an update of what's going on right from Arizona.
Yes, and I know across the country there's a lot of fake news out there, and so I'm always happy to provide the real story about what's going on, and without apologies. So I love that that's the name of this show. There are no apologies here. We are doing what is right to restore election integrity and to restore voter confidence in our election system. So we all know that there was funny business in 2020 with the election. Maricopa County is the biggest county in Arizona, and it had a lot of trouble. It's the only county. We only have 15 counties here in our big state, but it is the only county in our state that uses Dominion systems. And what we saw out in the wild compared to what we saw from the results seemed funny. So from the beginning, the Arizona Republican Party started to put the pressure on our legislators to do a full forensic audit. I also was pressuring our Board of Supervisors to consider their certification before they had the full story, talking to our Attorney General, urging him to look into what happened. Luckily, we have very strong state legislators in Arizona who took the bull by the horns, and they have not let go. They've been on for much more than 8 seconds on this ride, I can tell you. And they're doing an amazing job. They've already found they've had 2 official hearings based on the audit and the things that they were finding in the preliminary time, and we're awaiting the final report. But in the preliminary findings, there are a lot of things that people should be concerned about. There certainly is incompetence from Maricopa County, from the Elections Department, and really from the Board of Supervisors as well. There are mistakes, there are irregularities. And we're looking to make sure that there is not outright fraud or corruption that meddled in this 2020 election and maybe in elections even before 2020. We certainly don't want any of that going forward into 2022. So some of the highlights of problems, the duplicated ballots. I don't know if people who are watching even knew that duplicated ballots exist. I know I didn't before this election. If you mail your ballot in and it's got coffee on it, you spilled a little coffee stain, you have a little coffee cup ring and it won't run through the machine, a nice county employee will get a pristine new ballot and they will copy it exactly for you. What? Now, the problem is during our lawsuit, we got to look at 100 of those duplicated ballots and there was a 3% swing to President Trump because that county employee accidentally, on purpose, when people voted for President Trump, filled in the bubble for Biden or didn't fill in a bubble at all.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not cool.
No. So there were thousands of people who were not registered to vote by the deadline, who were still allowed to vote. There were people not on the voter rolls in November who appeared in December but voted. People who were on the voter rolls in November who voted then disappeared in December. Lots and lots of problems. It's a reason why we still need the routers. We still need the Splunk logs. We still need the tokens to be able to get into the machines. This week, the Arizona State Senate received their first preliminary report from the auditors. This is on the hand count of the nearly 2.1 million ballots for both the presidential race and the senatorial race, and the evaluation of the paper ballots themselves for legitimacy, for making sure that they lined up, making sure that human hands filled in those little ovals that were on those ballots. That's the first schlub that's going to come to the state Senate. Now, just last week on Thursday, the Maricopa County delivered the ballot envelope, issue images. And there are about 1.9 million of those. So the auditors have not had a chance yet in the last 6 days to look at all of those, but we certainly are excited to see what that shows, because Maricopa County, out of that 1.9 million ballots that came in absentee, they only rejected 587 ballots.
Total 587, that's all?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's
it's
abnormally
crazy.
low. Yep.
Yes.
So Maricopa County has been a little bit of a thorn in your side, I think. And so my understanding is that they're providing the least amount that they are asked, and with regard to ballots, envelopes, and so forth, but not allowing you to look at machines and fobs and the hardware, whatever it might be, nothing with Dominion. Do you think this is going to get to a point where they lose their $61 million of state funding, or what do you think is going to happen with Maricopa?
Well, we should find that out any day, because they had until August 20th to reply to the Attorney General. So one of our state senators, my state senator, in fact, Sonny Borelli, you may have heard President Trump mention him at the rally in Arizona. Borelli, I love your name. So Sonny Borelli, he asked the Attorney General to do what we call here a 1487 investigation into Maricopa County, asking, because they refused to comply with a lawful subpoena from the state Senate. And so the county did reply, and they basically said, well, because the Senate's out of session, they have no jurisdiction to issue this subpoena. And that's just a bunch of, as Biden might say, malarkey. And so I'm hopeful that the Attorney General will continue on the path that he already started, saying that, yes, the state Senate does have the ability to issue these subpoenas, and the Board of Supervisors at Maricopa County and every county is required to answer them. So keep your fingers crossed on that. And then we still have the Dominion problem. They've also been subpoenaed, refused to comply with legal subpoena.
Oh, got it. All right, you were stuck there for a second, but we got it.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, no worries. So we're at the point now where we're expecting some really big things to come out. I mean, we're like at the cusp of this after waiting and waiting and waiting. And this was an amazingly detailed forensic audit, Kelli.
Yes, and multiple states came to Arizona. They watched the process. they have the backbone, the foundation that Arizona already built for them, ready to move forward. I'm glad to see some of the places in Minnesota, Pennsylvania, not Minnesota, sorry, Michigan,
Michigan,
Pennsylvania, Georgia, utilizing the foundations that we built here to start to look into their elections as well. I'd love to see us do all 15 counties in Arizona, the ones Trump won, the ones they say he didn't. And I'd love to see the entire country audited in this forensic manner.
I don't think she's alone in that either. I do not think that you are alone. I think there's a lot of people across the country who feel the same exact way about the whole election. We want some clarity. We just want some clarity. Can we hold you over and we'll have you back in just a second? We'll talk some more about it.
I'd love it. I'd love it. Looking forward to it.
All right, folks, we'll be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
And we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz, and super awesome special guest, Arizona GOP Chair, Dr. Kelli Ward. Welcome back, Kelli.
Great to be here. Great to be here. Thank you for having me, because this is such an important topic. Election integrity is what's on everyone's mind, whether the pollsters are asking about it or not. People understand that if we don't get this under control, then we're on the verge of losing our country. So I'm ready to fight. I know you guys are too, and probably everybody out there watching as well.
We absolutely are. I'd like to ask you a question that I'm asking a lot of people lately, and I'm a skeptic. I don't care who I'm talking to, I'm a skeptic. It's just my nature. I'm wondering, when do you think we may have something that the American people can actually hang on to that's valid and concrete. And I know what you guys are doing is valid and concrete, but I'm looking at from the very time of the election, promise after promise after promise after promise that, you know, and we've got the what's the big octopus, the Kraken, you know,
The
we got the
Kraken.
Kraken,
Release
and
the
we got,
Kraken. I'm waiting
Right.
for the Kraken.
So-
I think
so
just
it's
that,
hard
that
for-
alcohol right now.
Right.
I don't know.
so, yeah,
She knows it.
she knows it.
Yeah.
Yes, all
Yes,
right.
yeah,
I know it.
I own a bar, so hey, we're okay. But what I'm getting at is, I'm wondering if you can give us skeptics some hope that maybe out of Arizona will be something that we can actually hold on to and hold out as true evidence and not hearsay.
Right. Well, I think one of the biggest things that I've been valuable, why I think God put me in this position, was to make sure that I have our people remain hopeful, remain joyful, and understand what's going on without offering false hope. So in Arizona, we've already found things that the legislators are acting on in order to change our laws, our election laws, for the positive. And I think across the country, we have got a lot of concrete evidence that COVID-19 was used to manipulate the voting system. Now, it is very disappointing to see the House try to push through a bill to federalize all of our elections, to basically give Joe Biden or whoever's in the White House the ability to veto any state election laws that he or she, because we never know who's going to be there,
Right.
sees fit. And so that's very, very disturbing. We, as I said, we were one of the, well, I think we were the only state that actually got evidence in court that was introduced with both those duplicated ballots and with our signatures. I didn't mention that the ballot signatures, that's an affidavit swearing that you're the person who was lawfully filling out that ballot and mailing it in. So when Maricopa County only rejects 587 out of 1.9 million, it's very concerning. But when we checked those, the judge let us look at 100 ballots, and we had an expert and the Democrats had an expert. Our expert said about 6%, 6 out of 100 didn't look like they matched. The Dem expert actually said 11 out of 100 didn't look like they matched, but Maricopa County said, no, they all match. So that is something that people should hang their hat on, and they should discuss with their state legislatures about how do you have valid ID if you are going to allow mail-in voting. It certainly can't just be a signature that a person that is hired temporarily can just pass through without any thought whatsoever. So that's got to be looked at. I think that when the first preliminary report comes out from the state Senate, which should be in a week or two, I hope it's not delayed anything past that. I think there's going to be some concrete evidence there as well. I don't have any insider information about what they've found. I've been very cautious because I don't want to have any insider information. I don't want anyone to ever accuse me of leaking something that shouldn't be out. So
Right.
I'm waiting on pins and needles, just like all of you are, for that final report.
Now, you have, throughout all of the whole forensic audit, you've been doing daily reports, which is amazing, and that is a big commitment, but it's so important and it is so helpful. And what it's done is it's made a lot more people aware of who Dr. Kelli Ward is in Arizona. Now, you also, well, in addition to that, I know names of people in Arizona, too, that I normally, Sonny Borelli, Karen Fann, Wendy Rogers, isn't she in the state Senate? I mean,
Yes.
I'm from North Dakota, but I'm watching this soap opera, if you will, and I've got all of these characters, and it's been really, really interesting to watch.
It is, and I'm thankful to shows like yours, but also OANN and Right Side Broadcasting and Newsmax, and even to a point Fox News, who have allowed all of these people to be on to get the. Now, Fox, it's been a lot more difficult to get that word out, but those other entities allow people like Wendy and Sonny and Kelly Townsend and Senate President Fann to get the information directly from the people who are doing it, directly to the people who care, without the middleman spinning it in a way that is is basically fake news. The local media here in Arizona has been horrible. It has been horrible in terms of the audit. We've got, you said on the other side, we've got our Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, who is a radical, leftist, progressive Democrat activist who also has gotten some notoriety. We've got Stephen Richer, who happens to be a Republican, but put out a 38-page manifesto, a diatribe stating how bad the audit is and how good his predecessor, Democrat Adrian Fontes, happens to be. And also on top of that, tried to raise money on top of that manifesto. I don't know for what. And so they've made themselves famous in one way, where these very strong, very full of spine legislators have made their name in another. And I'm glad that that's going across. Now, I just want to do a little story about Wendy, because the media does not like Wendy in Arizona, and they don't like me. And they called Wendy Kelli Ward in khaki because she's a military person. So, you know, I think, but they have to know we're fighting together.
That's right. That's right. We're on the same team here, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have enjoyed getting the daily reports, and I like to see how the progress is going. Now, you're saying in a week or two, they keep kind of shoving that ahead, and another week, and then another week, and we're all kind of waiting with bated breath to see what happens. After that, now, I don't want you to surmise, but do you think that it is possible that once we start getting concrete information, that it will start a domino effect with the states? Because you mentioned Michigan and Pennsylvania. I would love it if Minnesota would do that as well, because I suspect some things in Minnesota too. But do you think that is entirely possible?
I do. This is unprecedented. Number one, we've never been able to forensically audit an election in the United States. This is the first time that it's happened. So people like to say that they know what's going to happen when these results start coming out, but the truth is no one has any idea, because unprecedented times, unprecedented situations call for unprecedented solutions. So those solutions may not be what everybody wants them to be, but they certainly are going to be out of the box. I look forward to other states looking into their elections, and I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to be at the tip of the spear, to be putting the pressure on the legislature and then giving them the praise when they needed it and uplifting them. And they know we have their backs, because we're going to help them get reelected in 2022, because they fought for what we think is important, what we know is important.
Tell those Arizona senators they're rock stars, and we're very proud of them for holding the line all across the country.
I will. I look forward to it. And I say, I will not be silenced. I will not be shamed. I will not be shut up. I'm going to be right here beside you fighting this fight, because our republic is at stake, and I'm not willing to lose it.
Fantastic.
Kelli, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. Much appreciated. Very happy to have you on.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you soon. Stay in touch.
Stick with us, folks. We are going to be back. Another special guest, Charlotte Cuthbertson. We will be right back.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled My Pillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to mypillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all My Pillow products. For example, you can get my premium My Pillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
From Lambeau Field to your living room. Catch all the Green Bay Packers preseason games exclusively on Beck Sports. Available on KRDK, KNDB, or KNDM TV. The Pack take on the Houston Texans August 14th, followed by the New York Jets August 21st, and end off the preseason with the Buffalo Bills August 28th. Check Beck.Sports to find more scheduling and local channel information.
Hello, we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck. Very great interview with Dr. Kelli Ward. We've got another interview coming right up, and this is with Charlotte Cuthbertson. She is a senior reporter for the Epoch Times. Now, for our viewers, Epoch Times, fantastic news outlet. When I say Epoch, I used to say Epoch, but I was corrected recently by someone from the Epoch Times that in North America, most commonly, I guess it's pronounced Epic.
Right.
But I don't want people to look up EPIC. It
Right.
is EPOCH. So, Charlotte, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Charlotte is with us via audio only. And Charlotte is, I would say, an expert in border security. And that is the very reason that we are speaking with Charlotte tonight. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Very glad to have you. So I've been reviewing a lot of your recent columns, and you really seem to cover things very, very thoroughly. And there is so much going on. And it's interesting because there's so much news that is happening around the world that we have, I believe, a lot of Americans have sort of lost sight, or maybe have been distracted, lost attention to what's happening at our southern border. Can you give us maybe some of your insight on what are the most pressing things that are facing the United States with regard to our southern border?
Sure. Well, probably just the volume of people coming across is creating most of the issues. It's tying up the Border Patrol agents, dealing with families, processing, and there are just miles and miles of border that are unpatrolled. That's where you get your criminals coming through, your drugs, whatever else the cartels want to send through. That's probably the biggest threat, is when there's more volume, you're pulling more Border Patrol agents off the line. And there's already gaps. So that's one of the things. And then the ones that do, the illegal aliens that do avoid Border Patrol, that's kind of what I've been focusing on mostly. And life is very different for the people that live on the border and experience this on a daily basis. I'm in an area where it's fairly remote. There's a lot of ranch land, and the ranchers have changed their lives, especially if they've got young kids at home. They can't let them go out and play without an armed adult being present. One rancher's wife said she won't answer the door without a gun in her hand. They're setting up security systems at home. You know, one mother with 3 young kids who Border Patrol found a convicted pedophile on her property. You know, she's out there scanning the tree line for threats when her kids want to play outside. So it's quite different in this area for sure.
Yeah, that really, unfortunately, adversely affects the way of life for the people down there. And it's interesting to me, and I assume you will agree, over the last 10 years, we really have gone from a discussion about immigration with regard to how many people to let in, how does it affect us economically, what are the ramifications when we have a welfare state, to truly being about security. And I see that you wrote recently that they have apprehended over 87 or about 8,700 criminal aliens in the last several months. And of course, it would seem to me that there have been probably many more that have gotten through because of the porous border. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Well, in the Del Rio sector, which is the second busiest, aside from the Rio Grande Valley where McAllen is, there was estimated around 10,000 illegal aliens got past Border Patrol just in July in the Del Rio sector. And these are the ones coming through the county that I've been focusing on. And 10,000 a month, that's just the ones that Border Patrol detect and count and don't catch. It's not the ones that no one knows about.
Wow. Wow, that is something, Charlotte. Are you aware of any support groups or, well, for instance, even say a form of posse comitatus? How are the citizens of the United States that live close to the border, how are they responding and protecting themselves?
Well, the ones that I've talked to, a lot of them feel quite hopeless, actually. A lot of them have upped their insurance levels because they know if they ever get into a situation where they have to defend themselves or their family, they feel like they are going to be, they're going to get, oh, what's the word, sorry? People are going to come after them.
There will be repercussions, you're saying.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
they're very concerned about that. So they feel a bit hopeless, to be honest.
Yeah.
So this video that we just showed a little while ago there was from your Twitter feed, and it looked like all young men. I mean, every one of them looked like a young man in that one too. And I have heard stories from my friends who live down in the Rio Grande Valley of how they tend to go in groups and they will steal some rancher's vehicle like a UTV, and then they will take that and coyotes will give them a GPS which will tell them where to go. They follow that and then they cut fence lines. So those poor ranchers down there, I heard a story of one incident where a vehicle was stolen from a ranch and they went 68 miles inland on this thing and then left it. So they got the vehicle back eventually, but not the fence lines. They were all cut that whole way, Charlotte.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, people think, oh, it's just a fence. Well, a good ranch fence is $30,000 per mile to build. So it's no small thing. And a lot of these ranches are one worker is spending half a day every day just on fences, whereas last year, nothing.
Charlotte, are you seeing where, I mean, clearly the border is one of the very few areas that the federal government actually is supposed to be involved with and protecting.
Right.
Are you seeing that that states or counties or even townships, for that matter, are trying to do something? Is there anything that they can do or that they are trying to do, and maybe just see how it plays out in the courts? Anything?
They are, and you know, in all reality, a lot of people have stopped talking about the federal government when they're looking for solutions. So in Texas, they're really looking at the governor to step up, which he's done some things, but people on the ground are just saying it's too slow, it's too slow. This has been a disaster for months. Mm-hmm. Counties are doing some things. Kinney County, which is near Del Rio, they're even looking at hiring some private security contractors that worked in Iraq and Afghanistan. The sheriff in that county, he's also sued ICE, and that's seems like it is looking pretty good for a win.
Wow.
The Border Patrol just got a new head, last I heard, too, and the one that was outgoing, we talked about it on the program, he basically said this is a humanitarian and national security crisis.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Charlotte, we are going to hold you over. We're going to have one more segment. We will be right back. I've got a few more questions for you. Folks, stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. Yeah. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
And we're back. It's the final segment on No Apologies. Thank you, folks, for hanging with us. We are going to bring Charlotte Cuthbertson back one more time, senior reporter for Epoch Times and an expert on the situation on our southern border. Charlotte, thank you for being back with us. We are on audio only.
Great. Excellent. Let's go.
All right, let's go. So I've got a question for you. You wrote an article about a week ago with regard to Red Cross, apparently in their, I guess, sense of a humanitarian aid, are publishing and handing out pamphlets which detail routes for illegals to come into the United States. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right. Yeah. So this is a pamphlet that's extremely detailed. Basically, there's a map on one side that takes you from Panama right up to the US-Mexico border in great detail, as far as train routes, shelter, medical help, how to travel safely through the forest and jungles, how to deal with the immigration authorities. On the other side, there's sort of handy hints. One in particular that struck me, it says, with traveling on a train, if you do get off a train when it's moving, keep running so that others don't fall on top of you.
Wow, that's pretty detailed stuff. That's just appalling to me that the Red Cross would be purposely aiding and abetting this crisis.
Well, I think one of the things that people are sort of taking issue with is that it's not suggesting, hey, don't give all your money to criminal cartels, smuggling organizations. Don't send the women and children who have got a 30% chance of getting raped on the trip up. You know, you will be crossing borders illegally. Be advised that that's against the law, basically. So there's sort of nothing saying, hey, it might not be worth taking the trip.
Right. That's a great point, Charlotte. I mean, if you are going, for instance, they could be providing these things and say, here are the downsides. Here's maybe why you should stay where you're at. But if you are insisting on going, here's how you can be the safest. That I could understand. But it seems that it's almost sort of compelling them to make that decision. It's not being a neutral guide.
Right. It seems pretty facilitating kind of document.
Exactly. And in addition to that, you've got illegal aliens who are, now you had a video also on Twitter that I'd like to show too, that two illegal aliens were apprehended after the pickup truck in which they were being smuggled blew through a checkpoint, went through a ranch fence and about a quarter of a mile through the bush, and the stolen truck was recovered, but the driver was not found. And I think this happens a lot. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, and this is a funny story because the sheriff in Kinney County decided he was just going to go and do a license checkpoint, just pop up, pop down. I asked if I could go, and he said, sure, it's going to be really boring. So we're there for about 20 minutes. Black pickup truck comes towards the checkpoint. It's coming in pretty hot. It's like, oh, is he going to stop? He gunned it through, and so everyone ran to their cars. And that's another thing about this is, you know, he just drove through the fence. So there's a fence down on this ranch. There were actually 4 illegal aliens in that truck, and 2 of them handed themselves in the next morning.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did, but they still never found the driver.
Interesting.
You know, my experience down on the Rio Grande Valley with my parents and then with a friend down there too was so interesting too, because I got a really close-up look at how the border wall was in that area, and there are big gaps in it. And so we were driving along on the ranch side of a member down on there, and you could see in the orange grove, he says, look in those trees because you're probably going to see people in those trees over there. I'm like, are you kidding me? But there are big gaps in there.
Right, and that's the case for pretty much all of Texas because the river is the actual border, and so it's very difficult. The wall really is just a funnel where it exists, but the river has its own problems to kind of keep secure.
Is the Rio Grande really low this year as well? Because it seemed like very low when I was there a year and a half ago. It would have been January of 19, and that's when I was there. And at that point, the river was very low, and I thought you could walk across it fairly easily.
Yeah, there's different sections. Del Rio, it's easy to walk across. It's no problem. Eagle Pass, there's a little bit deeper there, and there's a bit of a current. Quite a few people get into trouble there. McAllen area, they usually use rafts to raft them across, and Rio Grande City. So it just depends where you are.
Right.
Yeah. So Charlotte, we were speaking on break, and hunting season was brought up, and of course, at least certainly starting up here, it's going to be October, November, but I don't know what it is in Texas. But it sounds to me that hunting season can complicate things because there will be a lot of U.S. citizens that are out and about searching for game, going into the more of the wilderness type areas, I'm guessing that the concern is that they're going to have more chance encounters, and those chance encounters are going to be then situations in which people are armed. Is that what's your take on that?
That's exactly the concern that both the ranchers and the local sheriffs have. I mean, you're going to have hundreds of people wandering around remote ranch lands with high-powered rifles. So chances are there's going to be some face-to-face encounters somewhere along the line.
Right.
I would imagine. That's good. And then, of course, it depends. It depends on what happens, but that then can be used either to benefit to increase awareness of what the problem is, but it also could be used, depending on how the media wants to use it, to make an issue about Second Amendment issues or gun control issues or race issues. I don't know. I see
Nothing
this as
good
being
can come from
problematic.
that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in our final minute here, why don't you just recap a little bit for us about the crisis that you have seen and talk about that?
Sure. Well, at the moment, it doesn't seem like anything is abating. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Remain in Mexico ruling that the Supreme Court came out with last night.
Just saw that.
Whether that actually triggers into effect, or if the administration slow rolls it or makes it seem like it's happening, but it's not really. We don't know yet. So that was probably the biggest game changer during the Trump administration, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
All right, Charlotte, thank you so much for being on. And folks, once again, Charlotte is a senior reporter for the Epoch Times, wonderful news outlet. Thank you, Charlotte. And folks, we are going to have...
Tomorrow, we've got a great show for you. We have Andy Berger on talking about human trafficking in kids and depression.
Yes.
And then also we'll give you some information about the Charlie Kirk appearance, which is coming up in September in Fargo. We'll let you know.
Catch you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.